everyone, it's Angie and welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be going through how I edit my photos for Instagram, especially for my artwork, and share with you guys my process on doing that. Last week I made a video on how I take photos of my artwork, especially for Instagram, and I used my phone as an example for like all of the photos. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check it out. I'll link it. But without further ado, let's get right into this video. So I'm gonna use the photos I took from the previous video and use those as an example on how I'm gonna edit these. So it's all gonna be like on my phone. So first thing I do is look through all of the photos I took and favorite all of my favorite photos and the ones that I think are the best. I'll also delete all the photos that I didn't like and that I'm probably not gonna use. Also, what I like to do is zoom in the photo that I think I'm going to use and make sure that it's not blurry or shaky and that it's really sharp. So I already have a few that I've favorited so far. So then I'll share it to an editing app, and the apps that I use for editing are Snapseed, which I use like the most. Then there's VSCO, which I use every once in a while, and I also use Lightroom, but that one I mostly just use for portraits and photos that I've taken of other things and not really so much my artwork. Sometimes I use it for my artwork, but mostly I just use Snapseed. It has a lot of really cool features that I like. So I'm gonna share it with Snapseed, and then that's how I'll start editing. And so I don't use any of the pre-made filters or looks. I go right into the nitty-gritty. So the first thing I do is the white balance. I always make sure that the white balance is correct, and I'll mostly just do like a little eyedropper and click it on like and put it over the white of the paper, and that'll correct any like yellow or weird color that might have gotten into this photo. So I'll put it on whatever is supposed to be white, and then it looks good to me, so I'll just check that. And then you can see like before it's like slightly yellow, and after the white and everything just looks slightly cooler, which is great because then you can just start tuning the image. You can also crop the image, but I took all of these in square because I want it to be already pre-cropped to the Instagram format. But if it's not, I'll totally crop it because I like my photos to be square nowadays. Like before I didn't really care, but now I really like square. It's perfect for Instagram and just the presentation of your feed. So I'll adjust the brightness and the contrast, although this image already looks really bright. So I'll probably just do, probably do a little bit of brightness. Contrast, a little bit of contrast. It depends also like the style that you like of editing. I like to make my art to look very accurate to what it looks like in real life. And then like in the very end, right before I post it to Instagram, I always put like a little bit of one of the filters, which makes it look a little bit more rosy, but that's just me. And I just put a little bit so it doesn't mess with the colors a lot. But anyways, so I'll definitely bump up the saturation just a bit. The ambience I'll do a little bit too, so it's like fixes the overall image. It makes it look a lot more like, I don't know, just makes it look better. So I'll put a little bit of ambient. I'm gonna lower the highlights a bit because on one corner of this image it's very bright. I'm gonna bump up the shadows so that I'll like give it a more balanced look here, and then put a little bit of warmth. I do love warmth in my photos. And then what I like to do is use selective. I love Snapseed because it has this selective tool which lets you select one part of the image and adjust those individually. And I really like that, especially for artwork, because usually what happens when you take the photo is that like light is coming from one side but the other side is dark, and it kind of makes the image just looks really like unbalanced. So I really like to make everything balanced. So I'm gonna click on the dark sides of my image and then fix the brightness there so it all has the same brightness all the way around. And then you can see the before and after. It definitely makes a big difference in my opinion. It definitely gets rid of that shadow in the corner and it makes it look a lot nicer. Also, I think over here it's way too bright. I'm going to lower the brightness like just a tad bit here, and I think that looks a lot better. Another thing is to sharpen it, because well, phone quality isn't super sharp, but just a little bit of sharpness really makes a big difference in your artwork, just like a little bit though, and it makes it more like eye-catching, like wow, like it makes it look like it's a high quality image. So just a little bit of sharpening, and I really like that. So I'm gonna check it, and that's how I'm gonna edit that image. I'm gonna click done, and then I'm gonna edit another photo for you guys as an example. This one, I really liked how this one came out, and so let's edit that with Snapseed 2. And this one has a lot more stuff going on, so I'll show you guys how I go about editing this kind of image. So same thing though, I always do white balance to make sure that the white balance is correct. So I'm gonna click this highlighted part of the image, not the shadow, just because it is the whitest part like in this photo. And I believe it made it a little bit more cooler, but that's okay because you can always make it warmer if that's what you want. So I'll go to tune image and adjust the brightness. This image is a bit dark, so I'm gonna pump up the brightness a little more here. I don't like my photos, especially of my artwork, to have a lot of contrast because I feel like it adds very sharp, dark shadows everywhere that don't really belong. So I'm gonna put the contrast down and bump up the saturation just a little here. And the ambience, I'm gonna also pump it up because it helps with the shadows and the brightness kind of all look more uniformed. I'm also gonna put the highlights up because I want the white of the paper to look a lot brighter. And I'm gonna give it a little bit of warmth. And then you can see like before and after, it was a bit darker, and then like now it looks a lot brighter. And that's what you want. Like, you don't want it to look dark at all because you want your drawing to stand out and like really be the focus of the image. I'm also gonna do selective for this photo and fix some of the shadow areas. Like under the sketchbook, it's like really dark. So I'm gonna put the brightness up on that. And on the corner. And then on the middle of the paper. I'm also going to sharpen this image. And I think I'm going to crop it just a little bit because there's like a strange shadow on the side and I don't know what that is. So I'm just crop it, keep it in square, and just move it to the side. Just enough to get rid of that weird shadow because I already like the focal point of this image. Alright, and then I'm gonna finish that, and then that one's done. And then I'm gonna show you guys how I edit for a photo that's outside. So I have these, and I really like the way this one came out, so I'm going to share it with Snapseed and also edit that one there. For the photos that are taken outside, like I like the background to be a lot darker, like not in focus and not really distracting from the actual drawing. So, but I'm gonna do the same process. I'm gonna adjust the white balance first and make sure that it's correct. Even though we were outside, it's probably correct, but just to double check, because sometimes it's really cool or sometimes it's really warm depending on the time of day. So this one was really cool, so it made it warmer. And I mean, some people like it when it's a little cooler and it gives it that cooler color on the paper, but I'm gonna just keep it like this. I like it when it's warmer. Then I'm going to tune image and adjust all the settings. So I'm gonna make it a little bit brighter. I'm gonna keep the contrast as it is for now and then adjust everything else to see how it is. I'm gonna decrease the shadows so that the shadows in the background are darker and are not as in focus as the artwork, since the artwork is really white and bright. And so I like how it's turning out, and then I'm going to adjust the sharpness. And for this photo in particular, I want to also give it some fade. So I'm going to actually send this image to VSCO and finish editing it there. So I really like VSCO because it has the ability, well, it has really cool filters, but also because you can adjust other things that you can't really do in Snapseed. And I just noticed that the crop is a little off, so I'm going to crop that. Keeping it in square, I'm just going to make sure that the drawing is in the middle square and it has the same amount of space on the top and on the bottom. So that looks a lot better already. And then I'm just gonna play around with the settings until I am satisfied with the result. So I'm adjusting the skin tone because my hand is actually in the photo and I want to make sure that the skin tone looks nice too. And also I'm going to do the fade. Just a little bit of fade. I mean, I love fade. Some people don't really like it. Some people like really contrasty photos, but I don't know, like I like somewhere in between. Like I like some photos to be contrasty and then like other photos to be more faded. So I'm just gonna give this one a little bit of fade. Another thing you can do is take it to Lightroom. With this photo, I'm probably just not gonna do it for this video, but you can take it to Lightroom because in the Lightroom app, you can adjust certain color hues, and in VSCO you can't unless you get the paid version. So in Lightroom, you can adjust the color hues, and you can even make the dark green in this photo like darker or more brighter if you want. I prefer it to be darker so it doesn't distract that much, but for the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna leave it like this and I'm just gonna save it. So this is how I would edit my artwork specifically for Instagram, and I hope you liked it and found it useful, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a great, wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!